Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Job Shop USA. My name is Keith and we're in my job shop today. I wanted to start out here with a good look at Pearl here. Can you remember back when she looked like this? I have to be up front. It looks like this basically because of you guys there. Sometimes when it comes to rebuilds, the painting is probably the least favorite of my restorations. But I fumble through it. I get through it. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you very much for all your input. Many other things too as well. Mechanical going through, and there's a lot more people out there than I suspected that get into rebuilding and repowering and maintaining on machinery. It was just second nature coming up through my shipyards. Most of the time, if a machine was broke down in the shop, I was put on that for repair. And I have a lot of hours in a lot of different machines. So, hence why I give you the follow-up, my progress as we go through this. Okay, I'm going to come around there. We got something new to add on the outside of the gearbox here. And then we're going to bench assemble the main spindle shaft, and once we're happy with that, then we're going to take it apart and we're going to assemble it right into the headstock. Let's get to it. Last night I filled in the black paint, and then this morning I took the sandpaper and a sponge block and I sanded the face of this plaque here to put it onto the lathe. This ear here, or no, actually it was this one here. I'm looking at it backwards in the camera. This ear here had broke loose when we removed this plaque from the headstock, the very beginning. That broke loose, and I got the urge to go ahead and clean it, heliarc it, and then redress it, and then figure out where that hole is, and then re-drill it. All right, you can see that this is a 12 CK lathe, 14.5 inch swing over the bed, 30 inches in between center. It was built 6/1941, 3 months before Pearl Harbor was bombed. All right, and manufacturer's number, serial number there. So if anybody has the urge to look that up, you would find out a little more history of this lathe. The history of this lathe started when I got this lathe, as far as I'm concerned, minus its history data on here. And that's good enough for me. All right, so this plaque goes in this location here. Now I flattened this out just like I flattened the gear shift plaque. I flattened that out so I could get a good scan on it. And then I got the program in and I 3D printed the same thing, but I changed all the speeds to my projected speed. But what we're going to do before I finalize and actually print out this, the final mold for pouring a new one, we're going to run this, and I'm going to put my tack on the spindle, and we're going to verify my projection from my increased motor speed to the speeds that we're actually going to get at the spindle. Okay, that's yet to come. But hence, we're moving along. So I'm actually catching up to where I got to get busy, and I'm going to be bringing in some 3D scanning and some computer uh, layout and whatnot on getting a couple plaques made here. All right, these are the drive screws that the right size for this. I'm just going to put all 4 of them in here, make sure that our holes all line up. Even the one I re-drilled. Okay, just like the very first tag we put down, we redid and we put down here, we're keeping the same theme on all of our tags. All right, so they're going to be black background and just clean off the metal on the face. Okay, I think they're all in there pretty good. I'm going to, I don't know, should we pick, should we pick on the one that broke first? And let's just go over here. We're going to go a little bit in. All right. It had a natural bow on the bend in the middle there, so all 4 corners were actually proud. So this actually lets it sit down. We'll call that there. Nice, nice. Got some clearance back here behind here. Wait till you see this. Pearl's main spindle. Completely dismantled. Polished end to end. I just got back from the hardware store because your dogs that lock in, that when you rotate them and lock in, they have springs underneath them and they hold pressure, and also when they're in line with the chuck, the little pin locks in a little detent and it keeps it square so that you can slide your pins in, you know, from the back of your D coupler. And it was missing 2, and I went and I bought 6 brand new ones. They're a little bit longer and they're a little bit more stout, and I actually tested them out and I like the feel. So we're going to be putting those in after I have the spindle in place, because we're going to leave it all open, and it's nice. I need to access through the holes for a couple of the set screws that go in and hold the seal on the front of the gearbox, and then we'll worry about that afterwards. But I wanted to get in here because this had some paint on the back side of it, and this is where the seals sit over the edge here, and then we got our bearings and stuff like that. I need to put that seal assembly on here first, so I think I'm going to leave it standing right here because it stands nice, and I can slide that seal unit over there. I'm going to figure out the thickness. I'm going to make spacers off of here. We're going to heat it up and we're going to drop, and we're going to heat shrink it right onto this diameter. It runs a slinger ring around the shaft, and it has a double V here, and it creates 2 two throwing diameters that throw the oil back into the machine so that it doesn't protrude out past it. Okay, so this is a press fit onto the shaft. This goes into the housing, and it actually has two set screws here, one on each side, and those set screws lock this into the face and keep this from popping out or anything else. Those are timed, okay? They're not exactly 180 from each other, but I held them up to the case and I marked this one here with the Sharpie so I know where it goes, and I marked the case on the outside, the gearbox, with the Sharpie. Same thing for the aft seal assembly and plate that gets mounted into the housing. This face was equal to this face here, so I'm going to measure this depth and this thickness and figure out what I need for a spacer. All right, I got 1 inch 875 minus 680 equals a 1/2 inch. That's going to be pretty even. All right, I think this is just a little bit under a 1/2 inch. All right, let me get a couple parallels and we're going to set this up and we're going to drop that right on there. I've just got a square tube here that I'm setting on the back of the carriage here. This is set up on the compound, happens to be my flat spot. I added 3 more shims to that because if you look at, there's a difference of the surfaces there. So this is the surface we need to mate up. Actually, this is the surface we need to mate up, but this will not reach the parallels. So the parallels will sit here. So I added in that amount of material so that it would be holding it just right. Also, double check, that should be facing towards the spindle face. I have already taken my snap rings and drew it through the bore. This is one of my favorite tools to know that I've heated this enough so that there's no guessing about it. So I'll set that over here with my phone there and take out the twist here. See if we can fire this off. Couple hundred degrees to about 400 degrees will probably be about the temperature to swell out and give it 3-4 thousandths clearance over that. It's got a couple thousandths right now. I like to have a little bit more. Nice uniform heat's what you want. I know there's a little bit of spring in that strappings that I used right there, so. It looks pretty flush with that surface right there. Yeah, it is springing because actually I'm having to wait for this to cool down a little bit. If need be, I can put this in the lathe, put an indicator on it, and I can tap it in a little bit closer, you know, because where that I did pry it off with a crow's foot. Still moving. All right, it's locked on there now. See, those won't fall out. There's actually a little bit of pressure on each one of those. Pretty close. It's a little tiny bit proud. The bearing's the first thing that comes and hits that. So if it is a little proud, the bearing will make sure that that seat's square. I just didn't want it to be that way too far. And that's the ring that's supposed to be loose. All right, I think we're going to go over the other bench. It's a little bit lower, and we'll be able to assemble the rest of the assembly on here. All right, there's the front spindle bearings. Here's the rear spindle bearings. I'm going to put them out over there because that's at that end there. Let's see what we got here. Beauty. Timkins, made in England. I think we went over the bearings when I got them, when we were pulling them out. If not, that's the specs on them. And this is a Brower race. And we're going to be mounting that into the front of the gearbox. So we're going to set that over at the lathe. All right. We're not ready to let it out in the open yet. All right. I guess we're going to have to. Okay. Nice spot right there for the spindle. All right. And first thing that goes on here is the front spindle bearing. Okay, I think we're going to take the torch, we're going to warm that up so that it drops right on there, because that won't be coming back off. I can almost hold my hand on it. I didn't get it real hot. Set it right there for right now. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing here, we're following the layout here is piece number 68. 68 is bull gear spacer. Bull gear spacer. Right there. Then the bull gear goes on. Then this ring goes on. I pre put this on the shaft there, and I marked it, and we're confirming this as well. So okay, here's your aught, and here's your punch mark. That's the way it went, just like that. And for the drill, I'm going to put all 4 of those set screws back in there so that we're confirming exactly where that's at. Okay, bowl gear's in place. Then the next thing is the shifting cog. Let me see. There was a 6 on that one. You know, there was a mark on the other one that lines up in the right direction too. Right there, very faint. Okay. Now, the secondary gear goes on here. I think it pours clean. All right. Now the next thing, the picture, this is where this drawing here, you can see that this shows you this gear assembly right here, but this is another part right here, because there's a 62 that goes in there, and a 62 is spindle drive gear spacer. So there's supposed to be another spacer in there, but actually I don't have that gear assembly right there. What I actually have is these 2 units. So this is the spacer and this is the actual gear. So and depending on which way this went, that looks like it rubbed against that face there. But there, we'll put the spacer in there like that. More betterware. That lines up. I'm going to rotate this so that I can stick my face in here 2 ways here. All right, I have the pins for those. We might have to polish them up on the lathe. Okay, now there's a punch mark on one and not on the other. Okay, here's the one with the punch mark. There's a punch mark there. There's a punch mark there. Wow, it goes in pretty good when you line them up and you put the right one in the right one. Here, let's see how this one works over here. Okay, now here's the other thing. We can 180 this. Put that one in there. Okay, now they both went in there. Okay, both of those went in there. All right, next thing on the shaft. Okay, this gear here was called the small reverse gear, and then this next one is actually the large reverse gear. Now this one here is a little tricky because it actually has a set screw dog point that actually will lock into the shaft over here, and it has a key. Then it has this collar that's got to go over it, and this goes into the inside of the aft of the housing. And then after that, then we get our bearing. Oh, I like that. And then after that, then we get our actual seal ring. Then we got a spacer, and we get 2 nuts to adjust the preload or take up on the main spindle bearing. There is one thing that I didn't put on, and it has to go in this. It has to go on before we get this gear on here, and that is the cam or the oil pump. And the reason why I have it off is because I'm going to slip it in position, but I'm going to leave it hanging so that it gives me a little bit more clearance. There is a real hard punch mark in that, and that marks with this punch mark right here. So this thing is timed on here. That's the way it came off. That's the way it's going to go back on. And I have 3 brand new Allens that I'm going to bolt that on, and I'm also going to Loctite them in. After we get the spindle in, then we're going to go ahead and play with, I've sandblasted all the dog inserts. This is one of the 4 springs that I had in the machine when I got it. This is the new one. Oh, let me show you. Okay, that's how proud it sticks there. And what it does is it puts a preload, and when the pin comes around to this little slot, you see right there, that little radius. So it goes, and that clicks it in, and that lines it up dead nuts with the alignment for the pins to go in and out before they lock in the neutral position. Here's the spring, and I've already tested the spring, and I have enough travel, and it is a lot firmer, and this detent locks in more positively, and I like it. That's what I'm going to run with. All right, let's go throw this in the lathe. A little bit of dirt and like dried up dusty oil. Okay, we can put in our, this is the rear bearing cup. That went in about a half an inch before it cocked into that position. I couldn't push it no more, so all right. That's all I want to do is just let me get that one started. I got the puller plates that I made when I pulled them up out. I also kept them in the bearing box so that I can draw them back in. 5/8 hole in here. Here's the one for the rear. So now I'm just going to measure for an all thread that will go long enough for both of them. And with the same setup, I'm going to draw both of the bearing cups all the way into position. Couple lengths of my 5/8 all threads from my prop pullers and another short 6-inch piece here. I've got coupled nuts in here holding the length we need here, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Mount our plates on the ends. There we go. I like using the 5/8 large flange nuts. Okay. I'm going to go get a couple 1 1/16 wrenches. Right now, just tightening this and holding the nut there, I'm watching the rear races starting to pull in. You can see the plate is down inside the face of the headstock here, and I got the other camera looking in here at the inside of the race, so you can watch it being drawn in. You notice I got the rag over here and the wrench is just holding itself on that end, so pays to hang on to your tooling sometimes. Almost there. Okay, completely drawn in. All right. Back on. Okay, get my wrench out of there. I don't want to ding any paint here. We're ready to bring our spindle in here. I haven't done any. Went outside. I got some wood, still melting the ice. I put 3 giant blocks under the tripod there so that you're up a little bit higher and you got a better view of this whole situation. I got you leaning a little bit more towards the front here so that you can see the shaft going in, you know, through here and, you know, into the into the inside chamber here. The bowl gear, I've got that sitting in place, and then this other ring here, it's got to slip over, but it's got to be in that place right there. And when you get close to it here, you are not going to be able to get this piece in place here. So it's just not possible to put that in as we're going in with it. I mean, it's right there where it needs to be. All right, so now, and the reason why I left this off is you see the plunger right here, how close it is to the bowl gear. And there's our mark, and there's our mark. So we're going to slip this in here now. Looks like two 2x6s on the side there. Look pretty supportive to come down. Looks pretty level. Okay, next is the ring. And it goes in that direction. It actually sits there, but it's probably not going to sit there. Next is the large cog. It's going to go right in there. Next, we got a big gear. Okay, the big gear mates up with that gear, mates up with that gear. And we're going to slide just picking it up over a couple little shoulders here. Okay, I got to move my cardboard here. Okay, before we get too carried away here, thrust washer, and that thrust side goes against that gear. This collar. Okay. Okay, not to get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that goes on in that direction. Both of these dots were on the same side. Okay, yep. All right, and I believe that. And this gear here lines up with that gear. And that gear's onto there. So we'll push it in a little bit more. Okay. Well, oh, don't go too far. We have our gear that's got to go on there. Okay, and this is the tricky part here, okay? Because this gear has got to gotta be set screwed, keyed and set screwed into that shaft as it's going, and then that set screw will get tightened, and then that will go in there and hold that on this surface right here. So that's the trick that we got to get it there. Here's the holes for those pins right there. They're in the shaft there. Okay, that's already up on that surface there. I think these boards are probably putting it in a bind now. So there we go. Okay. Okay, there's the key that's going to go on that keyway right there. It's getting there close to it. Okay, yeah, I like that. Okay, all right, now this next part here, that goes on there. Okay, there's the key for that shaft right there. And that's the set screw that's got to be lined up. And we're going to pull it out of here because I want to Loctite it when I get it in position. I'm going to use my little lead mallet here. No, I'm not. I just saw a piece of lead knock off there, and I can see it right there. Got it. Okay, I gotta take a break from that end right there because we can get this stuff up here and started. Okay, now let's go ahead. We know that there's the punch mark. Let's find, okay, there's the circle. We know it's going to be going in that direction. Okay, and on this, There's the mark right there. There it is. Okay. All right. Hey, that'll go past there. All right. I think what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take a couple pieces of brass key stock. Okay. Hold them in there like chopsticks. Okay. Now take my big rubber mallet here, and I'm just tapping in on the front of the spindle. Okay, we're all the way there. And I really wanted that key and that dimple and set screw really tight and no issues. That's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see it go down below that surface. And okay, now this can go in there without any issues. That can continue going forward. That can continue in. That stays on there. That going in. Okay, that's going to be like right there. You can see that we just got a little bit more to go in. But same distance here, same distance there, same distance between here. A little bit more to go there, a little bit more to go there. Both of these are going to line up whatever way those pins go in easy. It was like 1-1, all right? And you can see this gear about there. We have to go that way slightly, a bit more. All right, let me see if it's just a matter of a little mallet. Yep. All right, I think we're at the bearing. Let's get a look. Okay, that is going to be nice. It's going to be riding right on there. Okay, and we'll just have to double check for that. We'll be getting, that's what you're going to have this over here to get to those Allens. Okay, and it's another reason why it makes sense that stays loose. Okay, all right. Let's see about fitting those pins in there. We're going to put that wire over that one, and we're going to tie wire that one. Before I do anything, I wanted to get these pins that just push in, and then they get locked in. I put this one in and rolled it all the way this way here. And once I saw that this one went in easy, I put the first one over here and then put this one here. I can't let those fall out because nothing's holding those in there. And I'm going to have to pull the bolt out of this one here to get that one going in there. But I want to set the first one in on this side. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to wrap this one here. And just like the tie wire here, I use my standard issue tie wire pliers, and I like to use Malin Company aircraft stainless steel lock wire, and that's what I'm using. This diameter is 051. Okay, I'm going to get both of these up here and get them to where I can grab them with the pliers. And then once I have that, okay, the shaft is always going to turn forward, so I'm going to lay this back this way here. And I'm going to cut it off about right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to put this one all the way in. All right, I like that. I can't use my Swiss screwdrivers to slide something over. I got to go get my beater Craftsman. Okay, I just wanted that in there so I can, when I roll this over here to put this other one in here, I know I'm not going to lose anything. All right. Oh, all right. And there we go. Okay. All right, I like that. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put that up there. Let's see here. Let's pull that one back there. Let's bring this down here. We will have to mark which one of our gears here is signifying. Okay, that one right there. That one right there. Yeah, got to shift the gears. Okay, and there's our mark and there's our lineup right there. Okay, We're going to lock in that ring now with our dog points. I think I'm going to juice my, because all I want to do is concentrate on holding this set screw so it doesn't drop into there anywhere. And okay, just lightly right now, because I don't know if I'm going to have to. Okay, there's the next one. We might as well go for it. Okay, next one. There's no doubt I got enough Loctite in there. Huh? Okay. Also, too, well, I'll point that out in a minute. I'm going to get this last one here. All four of these set screws were not in here when I took this thing apart. And there was some damage on one of the holes there. Whoop. Oh, okay, I'm just making sure that I know we don't. Whoop. I know we don't have any bearing on this end here, so there's probably a little bit of rubbing going on here. Throw some oil in here. Okay, I'm going to stake each one of these just like I did on the other set screws. Okay, it looked like somebody did like a chisel punch there. And I think I just want to take this and like flatten the thread right there. I think that's how I'm going to stake these. I surely don't want that coming out of there. There we go. Now we can mount up our ring here. Let's find the one with the mark on it. Oh, what I was going to say is, whether we're in direct drive or if we're in low gear, the gear train still rolls this bull gear over and still pumps oil. So just because this bull gear is not under power, it is still rotating, and that's also what gives nice uniform constant. Now we're going to be speeding up the lathe 3 times, so this is actually going to be, this pump is going to be working 3 times quicker. So what, this is all a test, and we're just doing this as a theory. So I'm going to roll the bull gear over here till I get to the one with the mark. I do want to put it in the exact spot it was at. Here it comes right here. Okay, and there's that one right there. Get out our Loctite again and our Allens to go in there. Next one. Okay. This diameter interfered with my part coming in this ring here. I had a little bit of a challenge. The two double Woodruff keys for the collars that made up back here, and I got the back plate in there, tightened up the nuts, drew in all the play. I just brought it to where I know I can't move it, okay? So, and it spins freely. Of course, I got a couple others. I got some neutral going on in here, because if you engage this into the rest of the drive, it eventually comes back to the main motor, and then you got to lift the brake out of there a little bit, and of course pulling backwards on the gear train, especially if you're in the low. You know what I mean? So it's meant to drive from that direction this way, not the other way around. All right, so by popping a couple of these out of here, and I can check this out. I got one ring that I have to put in place in the housing, and then the front will be sealed up, and then I can start putting some dog keepers in here, and we can throw a chuck or a spindle or something on here, and we can check the run out and all kinds of other stuff. We're 100%, and this will be the last time I'm going to have you looking down in here, because we're gonna move on to a few other things here. I just put in the front plate that goes in front of the slinger ring, so both ends are 100% buttoned up. We're not adjusted to our spindle preload or anything else right now, but we have no play in here, and there's nothing rattling on here now. Remember that the little rattle noise was the rattle of that plate on the front here. You know, I can't wait to assemble this thing. Okay, our new springs. Some good oil in there. Okay, and now all you do is you push this in and crank in your lock. Okay, that's holding it. I just like my cheater bar here. Okay, that's locked in there. I'm not going to put any Loctite or anything else on, just in case I want to pull it apart and clean it. I do want to get my wrench. Just grabbing one off of the 3-jaw there. Okay, there's the lock on the dimple. Hear it? Okay. Already looking for a place to put my chuck wrench. All right. I'm just gonna set that up there. Get our next one ready. Last one. Look at that brandy new spindle. I am ready. And let me see here. Okay, there's a 0 mark, and there's a 0 mark. I just wanted to know where I was putting it to start with. Okay, and lock, lock, loosely all the way around. That's for people that don't know that this is part of your hand. This and your hand are one. The chuck is one, the chuck handle is one with your hand. Okay, start pedaling. That's what we've been waiting for. All right, I had to throw an indicator up here. I'm running less than half a thousandths. And this is just an aquavit marine shafting. I don't know if it's straight or not. It's just, but it's a pretty average piece of material that I'm putting in the lathe all the time. And there we go. I also put the 2 fingers in here on the so I can shift both into the back gear or into direct on the spindle. All right, I think I'm ready to put her to bed. Little electricity, a little oil, and I'm ready to test run this thing. We need to see if our repair is sound and also record our speeds for our new chart that's going to be mounted on here. Thanks for visiting Job Shop USA. Till next time, get her done.